Hi, everybody. Hope you're having a good evening. This question is from Michelle Musel in England. And she says, thank you for your book discussion. I have a question regarding your answer to Ted's question on death consciousness process. Okay, you said something like, at some point, our emotional mind is empty, and to that empty, we are then able to perceive and engage with another state. Is this what we are trying to do to achieve in meditation or something like that? Okay. It's really, I guess, more than empty, it's quiet. The mind becomes a little bit more quiet. And what that really means is complicated, because we have a system, a personality system, that is basically currently, continually reassuring itself of itself through the constant emotional mind responses and defensive triggers that go on in relationship to maintaining an image structure that is vitally, virtually the same. And that makes us feel comfortable and certainly reassures us all the time about our relationship that we have with ourselves. And the dilemma with it is that there's a shell-like energy process that occurs. And that shell-like mechanism is related to holding those features that we have as a personality and an image structure in place so that we are not too vulnerable, because we have a dependency on that system. Basically, it just helps us to maintain a sense of worth, a sense of value. Unfortunately, we are not very much aware of it. And that is the dilemma that we face in relationship to quieting down the mind. The mind itself is really an emotional mind with all the unconscious reflexes that are there maintaining a system that virtually enables itself to be okay and basically the same or very similar to what it was before. The quieting down of the emotional mind is such that when you're engaging with that emotional mind during meditation, it tends to fall asleep. It's one of the things that really emphasize and maintain the structure that we have. Eyes open meditation, and with a particular focus that's related to something, anything, virtually most of the time it's focused on mantras, and that is a help, because in our view of our personality, we've believed that we are doing a right thing related to spiritual growing. So you hear how complicated this is. And doing that right thing, we express a value to ourselves. And that's part of the maintenance that we have in respect to keeping a personality system exactly the way it was before. This makes it very difficult for us to move very quickly into a state beyond the personality's engagement. and or structures that want to remain the same. So in meditating, there is a slow engagement, very, very slow engagement with movement towards a quietening down. And it's very similar to listening. I don't know if anybody ever understands or perceives this, but when you really listen, your mind gets quieter. And you're actually listening to words as opposed to trying to engage with those words that you're hearing. You don't want to miss anything that's being spoken about. Well, you need to have something that's really going to keep your attention to do that, because really basically what happens is there is a feedback mechanism that occurs all the time. And that feedback mechanism is the same mechanism that keeps you thinking and defending what you already know. And it's as if the whole system goes into a kind of a defensive response, because it's looking to maintain how those thoughts were, or those ideas were, or the images that you have, to maintain it. You want to maintain that structure. This all happens without anybody's knowledge. So if you could be aware a little bit about your solar plexus and your root center, and you're watching your body's stiffness and your engagement with your physical form, you would notice, because that's related to the root and gonad centers, you would notice when you're holding and when you have a great need to validate the system that you already validate. No matter what it looks like, it doesn't matter. It always is looked at by the personality as a valid system. It's the way it happens with us all. So what begins to happen is when you're meditating, slowly there is a kind of little shift in that mechanism, because it's process. A small shift, and a slight awareness can occur of something different that is expressing in you that is really not of the structure, one could say, that is already personalized as a personality. And it is very difficult to reach out. This is why we have so many belief systems in spiritual growth. A belief system is a structure that helps you to maintain a willingness to continue to move towards something beyond your belief system. And truly, it is really important. However, we often see that as maintaining the belief system, and then we defend the belief system, and we don't ever want to allow it to shift. So in that particular case, if there is an opening a little bit within you beyond the personality construct, it will usually be expressed in terms of your particular belief system. Because if it isn't, you would feel awkward about believing something slightly different than your belief system. I think it's a very fascinating system, but I don't think it's our personality constructs and structures that we're talking about is negative at all. I think fundamentally we need all the help we can, because we're looking to find a place that is, let's say, partly involved with the belief system and partly involved with an opening to be curious about what might lie beyond what we think has to be true. And belief systems are right on the edge of having to be true. And that is a fundamental difficulty in all of our growing. No matter what it is, doesn't matter. But at the same time, it is a fundamental asset, because it means that if you have an idea of something beyond your belief system, you will have a reflex reaction, and then you'll have the belief system that you'll lean on to have it maintain itself. Now, think about that for a second and see what I mean. Then, in a kind of a way, eventually that belief system, this is really valuable, will stretch, because a belief system can stretch unless we're defending a small canopy of information which we cannot allow to stretch because it will hurt us. That means that there is in a higher state relationship with you, there is always a consideration for not harming us. It's a little bit different than some beliefs that say, God carries a big hammer, and if you're really, truly bad in some way, he's going to nail you, or she's going to nail you, or it's going to nail you. Gosh. I can't see that as a viable orientation personally, but I know many of us do understand things that way. But a loving beingness, in our world we say, this will be for your own good. Bang, 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 whatever. Sorry, that doesn't work that way. But if you can have a gap inside, just a slight one, and that usually happens through prayer, yes, through meditation, contemplation on whatever it is you think you believe. Or you demand you believe. And then there's a shift in that. Eventually, we're through perhaps some experience, eventually, you get to the point where you perceive a kind of loving, a kind of gentleness in you that is outside, no offense to anybody, the scope of your capability, because you're defending so much. We're all defending so much. That feeling, that sense of softening inside that is allowed by a personality that's growing. At some point in all of our lives, being soft was considered a terrible thing in our world. In a way, we shouldn't be that way. If we're going to show value in ourselves, we have to be firm and kind of a pain in the butt. In relationship, too, maintaining how we think we need to be. It's very... it aligns with some points of reference, some points of view. And there have been many philosophical backgrounds that align with that concept. There's you and your image of you and how valuable it is, and you have to maintain it all your life. If you don't, you'll get some other image. And that will be destroying the image you have, which is the only right one. This in itself is a part of how things work here on these planes. But unfortunately, we're talking about an engagement with a preparation to be able to handle states beyond the personality interaction, while still having a personality. Wow. It seems like a very, very large task. Well, it's not when you have a belief system that you lean on. And no matter how you grow and how able you become, your personality will cultivate a belief system within you for you. You cannot help that. Because there are certain determinate factors. How you are in life, what you believe, how the world is touching you, how you engage with the world and see how the world is touching you. And also, if by chance you begin to experience a relationship, even the slightest little bit, you will call it a very high relationship, and it will then put you in a place where you extend your way of seeing you broader than you had it before. Learning how to find a balance in that. And remember, you are a human being can sometimes be very difficult, because the extension of the personality is to maintain a relationship with the value that you already have, whatever it is within yourself. And that is a mouthful in itself. Not that simple, these ideas, at all, but worth thinking about. To go on, I think I covered a little bit of the second part. And remember the first part, that link is already there in you, but can't really get past the idea or the assertion that if you do have a link, your personality is more valuable. You're a better personality. Therefore, you are superior or important. In fact, it's not really how it works, but it is how the image-making process and protection works. Deepening your meditative processes can soften you. And no offense to anybody, that can be disturbing. When you lean on being firm and validated, softening can be fundamentally uncomfortable. Because there is a difference between the two. You need time to be okay with that. And then, unfortunately or fortunately, as you become more familiar and comfortable with it as a personality, because your personality is an energy form, then you have to soften down what has gone before, because it comes back to reassure you that it's still there. It's just normal stuff. Unless you have reconstructed an image, a personalized image of being spiritual. And in that case, you're doing the same thing you did before, but in a different way. This is why it's not so easy in our relationship of continual growth. But it is fundamentally wonderful, but uncommonly uncomfortable from time to time, and comfortable from time to time. Michelle says, you also said something like prior to our engagement as a glowing being. Now, I'm talking way in the future. We are able to engage, if we desire to, in multiplicities of universes. What does it mean? An example would be, and you don't have to believe in this, is you may encounter angelic form. One example. Now, if you don't believe in them, you may still encounter them, because it hasn't got anything to do with belief. It has to do with the experience. So, and that may not be the only, you asked me for what does it mean? There are many engagements with different understandings of how the universe works. Oh my gosh. I don't know if you've read a whole bunch of stuff or not, but do. There's all kinds of stuff out there. And who's to say that they're all wrong or all right? Either one. Your experience will tell you this, but you must be patient and allow the experience to be okay. And that is difficult for us because the engagement that we have is usually related to our hopes, wishes, and desires to be able and to be a functional being who's growing in such a manner as to be able to talk, but not only to talk, but experience an inner flow that you might call a spiritual flow. Our world of very interesting communication with each other is often fraught with what we believe and what we need to believe to be valued as an individual, not only to others, but to ourselves. The act of being valued unto ourselves is a very strong thing in our world. You may miss it, you may not even notice it, and you may never see it. But in fact, that is the thing that keeps you in the so-called relationship that you have with spiritual growth. Because you continually wish to be engaged in such a way as perhaps to be helpful to others, perhaps, but truly also to be helpful to yourself. And this is part of the business of the stretch that can occur in a personality as we continue to engage with life and have a willingness to go beyond the level of growth that you have already attained. And if you are still involved with growing, that means you have attained a level of growth. The personality is the only thing that will hold you from that. The image structure, whatever it looks like. The willingness to go beyond what you believe is the only way to be. It starts to blur a little bit. Don't worry. Within you still lies what you believe you are and what you need to be called a spiritual person. Some of those images will fall away because they're not necessary anymore. They won't fall away because they're bad. They'll fall away because you don't need them as much anymore. And that will be the day that you see more of how you function. And you don't react negatively to it. You engage and are actually curious about it. So, and recognize, and you're still okay. Good for you. Thank you for the questions, Michelle. I hope that helps a little bit. If I don't put a little line in pencil through some of that stuff, then I will not remember that I've, in a month or two, that I've heard that or spoke about it a bit. Remember, these things are ideas that might be helpful in relationship to you thinking things through. The engagement that you have with you is important because you will allow or not allow within yourself to engage with and try to understand how you think, why you think it, perhaps, and then see if you can move in and through it in a slightly different way than you could before. I've heard a lot of people talking about throwing a whole bunch of stuff out. That can never happen. It's not that you throw anything out. It's you begin to recognize and understand that there are so many different ways of perceiving something very similar. A very highly sophisticated refinement of existence beyond an understanding that we can bring ourselves to express exists. One could say, and now let's bring it down to our level, it's an energetic system. Well, we can talk about that like that. But then we have to come up with theories about how it works and why it works that way. And those theories have to be based on either other information that other people have or ideas that make sense to us because we've learned them from here or there or some other place. And all of that is related to pausing and engaging in time until the experience of something occurs in us. And then, first of all, we are going to have to explain that just basically in terms of what we already think we know. And then slowly we begin to see that it's not quite exactly that way. And that's called a stretch. We stretch beyond what we could know, just a little tiny bit beyond what we thought was exactly the way things were. But don't do that ahead of time. Otherwise, the illusion of thinking you know something starts to get really strong, and conclusions are jumped all over the place. And that can happen anytime, to anybody. And then they're maintained because that's part of your thinking process. And because it validates you as an individual. And you don't want to change that because you feel good being validated. It's the nature of humanity. It's not you being bad or good. It's just the nature of what we do here. So I'll leave you with that thought, and I'll go on to the next question, which has a bit of that in it. This is a question from Gabrielle Matheson. And she refers to a number of things in around page 122, 23, 23, 23.
In your book, right?
24 in my book. Marlene's jumping ahead of me here. And she talks about me saying that when the brow center gets strong, the brow is affected. In other words, you feel it physically. And energy moves in different levels between different centers. It does. Lower down, middle or third paragraph, there is always a reciprocal relationship between the personalized level of the lower chakras and the personalized level of the upper chakras. Real important statement there. You get to upper chakras and then you're not involved with being a universal being. You're involved with engaging with the lower system. Your personality is still there. If you have a belief that tells you something else, then the result of that belief makes you that thing that you think you are without being it. But you're happy. See, that's what I was talking about before. When the brow and the throat centers blend, upper aspects of, engage with the heart center. Heart center has a number of levels. From my perspective, the personality becomes a lens through which it can see its many parts and the multi-dimensional screen on which to recognize the inner workings of spiritual expression in another. What I really mean there is you're looking at your whole system as a screen, multi-dimensional. You can see different things within it. But initially, all you see is relationship with those chakras close to the body. Not negative, really big step. And page 124, middle of the 7 centers evolve into a fusion of 3 subtly interlocking triangles, the 3 levels of the heart center and the 3 lower centers. That's complicated. What I mean by that is, she asked me to elaborate on these different level aspects. And she says, I assume that you're referring to different levels, aspects of the chakras on the physical plane. I am. Because that's where we first begin to see them or perceive them. Perception is a wild thing, a strange thing sometimes. And there's all kinds of things talked about it. And we work our way around attempting to understand what that means. When you begin to perceive energy flowing in you, or zones where those chakras are, on the body or within the body, you're beginning to engage with an understanding that they exist. And there's very little talked about them having interaction with each other. A whole lot talked about as they're firing, they unify, and now you're pretty good. So, and that's true. When they do unify, you're right at the beginning of growing more. And the interesting thing about that is that your relationship with that energy that's in there is still very much involved with the personality. And this is pretty interesting because That's where the sages used to say, this is a very dangerous area for anyone to be in, because their engagement with themselves becomes very highly focused. And it takes a while to wear that off. And the reason why that personalized focus takes a while to wear off is because we have had it all our lives. And we're trained to have it. There's no negation in it, but there is reality to it. And that reality is that means you're just beginning. Prior to that, we have an engagement with a personality that believes that it's validated by whatever it does or doesn't do. And it remains there because that makes it feel good. That's just real. And why would anyone want to change that wondrous feeling about being important in the scheme of things and engaging with others as if you are important and more important? It's real personality stuff. And in our world, that's where the focus is. That's just honest. So now, as you begin to perceive these centers or these chakras or Zephyroth, either on the sides or the front, or any one of them, whatever, what you're beginning to do is know that you're an energy being. No subtlety to it. You're just an energy being. So that's disturbing enough, because you were a personality and very able at doing whatever it is you believe you are able at. And now you're an energy being. Takes away the... Yeah, so what does that mean? Well, it just means you're an energy being. You've always been an energy being. You'll always be an energy being. And your focus is on the physical plane. You have a lot of intensity, and emotional intensity, and you validate yourself with it. That is the nature of this plane. Sorry. That's just true for all of us. Very disturbing. Well, no, not really. Everybody's the same. Then you're constructing a system, an additional system, that is already there and prepared to be constructed, and it's called a mental system. But you construct it with emotional energy. You work hard. You try to organize and think things through. You try to understand, philosophically speaking, your moral background, whatever the heck that means to you, your ethical background. In theory, how you treat other people and how they have a propensity to treat you. Somewhere in there, there's some sense-making. The sense-making is based on how you were brought up, because you tie in your sense-making with validating how you were brought up. And you have no clue that that's true. Well, you do have that clue. Sometimes you actually see it. That's rare. And when you do, it's because of some level of growth that's been going on inside you. But it doesn't make you any better than anybody else. It does make you an individual who can actually keep growing. So this is not new. This was known thousands of years ago. It's been in philosophy. There's been people talking about this kind of thing. Not doing always, just talking about it. And they know how difficult it is if they've tried. But it isn't a negative thing when you try and you see stuff. It just is. You're seeing something. It's a bit like a painting. You take a look at a painting and you see it. If you're not a painter, you see it as a person who's not a painter. If you are a painter, you see it deeper. You look at it from a different perspective. You have a different perspective because you've been painting yourself. If you've learned an awful lot about painting and are a painter, and you have taken a look at themes that are difficult to create, and you have created them, you will see a painting from another level, a deeper level. It doesn't make you any different or better than anybody else. It just makes you a painter who can do that, an individual who can do that. And what do you do with it? You wipe out everyone else's painting because it's not as good as blah, blah, blah. Yeah, well, okay, go ahead. So that's where you are. That's the way you do things. And that's not an easy way. But you feel superior because of it. Well, in the process of chakras, the same thing is true, but that's a personality-focused orientation. Nothing to do with higher states or so-called spiritual states. Same is true. Whatever belief you have. Nothing to do with being spiritual. Everything to do with being right and validated. I'm sorry, but it's true. Think about it. Don't listen to this. Think about it. Most human beings have the great capability of allowing something to make some sense to them differently than what they did before. That is a wonderful thing. It's not practiced a lot, but it's practiced in the realm of the capability of willingness to go beyond what you already know. And this is uncomfortable for anybody, any of us. When you're talking about chakras and you start to perceive areas, it's complicated because you begin from somewhere. And whatever you know or think you know is the thing that you move towards to check to see if you're right or not. You don't trust your experience. And there's good reason sometimes. Because you also know that you might defend what you think you believe to be true and not let yourself understand something beyond that. You're very right. It can happen. And that's part of the movement or process, we'd call a directing relationship. You're continually moving towards broadening out what you understand. Not as a bigger truth, but as a truth related to your experience and your belief. This is not easy. It's very interesting. Once you begin to perceive these areas where energy operates through, you operate in a different way. You begin to watch them instead of deliberating that that's where they are. You begin to watch them and see that your perception is where you are. What you designate as real is where you are. If you are judgmental, that's where you are. It means the next phase is becoming less judgmental. It's process. Phasal. Continual. Understanding deeper. Being willing to allow an understanding to come forward that is slightly different than the one you have. This is hard for us. Once again, as I said before, you kind of lose face a bit. What face? Well, to be honest, the face of what you thought was the only way to see things. There's not a person I've ever met that hasn't done that. Or not. And so have I done that. And so will you. And very likely do. Whoever you would be. The heart center is an interesting thing. Let me do this one first. If the upper centers start coming on roughly with the energy that is related to the root and base centers of the personality, good thing, all the way to the top. Then as those centers continue to come on more until they're on without the need to have the lower ones help them to come on, so that's still aspects of a larger personality engagement, then what begins to happen then is those centers feed downward to prepare the lower ones to broaden out. That is uncomfortable. It forces you to move differently than how you did before. But it does one other thing. And this is disturbing. It increases how you were before to the point where you can perceive it. And if you can't still perceive it, it increases it more. So you are in the equation of growing. Your perception is, your awareness is in the equation of growing. This is vital. Unfortunately, it's difficult because we are trained not to see how we function. Well, that sounds really strange, but that's our training. We copy the training of our parental background, our environment, the landscape we live in. What is more valid? Okay, then I better do that. Okay, this is the right way to be. I walk like this on my tiptoe, if that's what it is. And this is the right way to be. And that happens, and that will be hard to change. And you will not want to change it. That's a metaphor, those tiptoes, for any kind of engagement that you have inside of you for a purpose that maintains how you need to be valued by you. It's fundamental in all of us. Not negative. Sometimes hard to deal with, but not negative. Now this goes on for quite a while. Lifetimes. And if you're very fortunate, maybe you see it right away. And you can be in your own corner, helping you. But it's still uncomfortable. But here's what is comfortable. You start to be aware of energy more. The fact that you are an energy being slightly begins to make some sense to you. It allows you to be okay with you in your growing process. Because it's fundamentally there. It is not there, that perception, in everyone. I know some there said it's not there, and all they have to do is calm a little bit, gentle down, and suddenly they are aware of that energy. Here, there, because it is there. It's never gone away. We are learning to perceive it 24/7. And if it's not quick in coming, has nothing to do with you being a good person or a bad person or the right person or that person. Has to do with a need that we have to be okay, internally as well as externally, in a different way than what we've been trained to be. Everyone has difficult times with this. And after this continual helping that goes on of the upper centers with the lower ones and the lower ones with the upper ones, there is a balance that eventually comes where you can actually notice that the three lower centers are very important because they're 3 and a third centers. The lower part of the heart center is not only in the lower part, it's including, these have different levels, different engagements with different levels, different planes, if you will. Different phases of growth. And the head centers, when they start engaging together, engage with an aspect of the heart center. That third level of heart center engages wonderfully after the combination of these upper and lower centers engage. And this is way past what we normally know. You become almost like a glowing orb. And it's not an aura I'm talking about. It's a glowing orb where you can move into one dimension and move back into another dimension. You can be a person outside weeding your garden, so to speak. Fully, totally focused on weeding your garden. Glowing. Seen as a normal human being. No necessary extensions of importance involved. I think that's one of the hardest things that we have to deal with as we become more able, little by little. There is this importance thing that occurs. And this is really difficult to handle. that becomes less. Because it's not necessary. You're already important. You don't know it. So these are some of the ideas that I can put forward. You need to put your own willingness to think about these things, please. It's important. That oneness of all of these centers becoming tremendously glowing together, way beyond our understanding. At this point, one could say, but you will have experiences of similar natures because the vulnerability that we have is so profound that we need to engage slowly towards a sense of subtlety that we can handle little at a time without becoming as important as we would like to be. And this is not in alignment with what we believe here on these planes. So I wish you all well with that, myself included, and I look forward to this coming weekend, and we have a North American seminar. And we will soon, we'll also have a seminar in the UK in October. I'm not sure of the date, but we'll be sending that out fairly soon, along with some other dates for other places. I wish you well. We're going to have a meditation now, and take care of yourselves. Good night. I'll bring you in at the end of the meditation.
Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 mani be me hori, Om 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 mani be me hori. Gewan diye nyurdunda chere zewan dujurunji dowanji jamalemba diye salai gembaranju. Aho dene mi jur yasa nyuma yishelo pai kunde sonjo de chengi nyam juro lenje doje zumo sancho gi ga ma jirna chegur charvi jodola pemda chenye shirzongo kadagi shina tele nyaji yeji jilungi gomba tawa cholu dawe sokur shikor ye re don chegu kandu gaten la rensho se koryo ranshin lundu jishin na ma che semlen demba yishin jiramba gomba mi de dalwe sokur shiko ye se ton longue kandu gaten la renjo ye she lunjam tunje kuncha ji shina ta sha don le de Jamingi tulunju Je ba la davi Tokur shikor ye Na doi dungu kandu Gaten la renjo Dendru tangma chenpo jaziringi poemna ridamaga gudang ishinjin sombo Yese nawa shi Sokur shikor ye Cheze lolen debe Gadin la renjo Tin se tile chembor Dazur ni mindo Rajoy don manamshi sadim ni minda Jire na ishe kolor Tsudu chi chenje da ni nyume sheba Kaindu le dong Nye zin tubi nawa Kemendu dove Korde nyamda maju Ranjungi sanje De me gümbe jalsa rameni nyende gu ya lo de nima ni ne sharanju nga tsoi kunza peme buju shi na Nye san tenpa chogi nyulam gi chenje Po chen jalu donje dega la tene Kam son korwan dondu Do den la chendo Dire de kelwar dembe Doje ye che cham Te tsom som ni membe Demi chi dinjoro Zame zindo dalwe Turshun chi chemba De chen songi kole Gaten la rendang Sam mi chap cheni Zamo yi den tu O men kala chebe Don chirin dur Zame de chen donje Lonje ji pe la Sombo jindun 준비 메람시 윤도 sombo jindo 준비 메람 lam shi yuen do cong bo jin do jue be me lam shi yuen do je jin lam je jun pe ma jun bui lo de jin jo ren bo che shi ta le lo ma sho le ya sho la le mo sho le ya sho la le mo sho le ya ram mi ge je dem ja ma sho na ten de ve sa la che mi che shi ta le lo ma sho le ya sho la le mo sho le ya sho la le mo sho le ya pa ge do je lu nya me ni ne do ve se wa de shi da le lo ma sho le ya sho la le mo sho le ya sho la le mo sho le ya bu pa da nya bar jin jin lo shar kong ye jen ba ki bi jong xin ta le lo ma sho le ya sho la le mo sho le ya sho la le mo sho le ya ni bu chu sa ga chen do ma da se sem jin den den chi re shi ta le lo ma sho le ya sho la le mo sho le ya sho la le mo sho le ya shi nga ya pe re la khan shen de bar che me bar drum ne cha shi ta le lo ma sho le ya sho la le mo sho le ya sho la le mo sho le ya che ten be jan zen tso ba ro gen ka rin chen ji jin ja tsele shi ta le lo ma sho le ya sho la le mo sho le ya sho la le mo sho le ya do pa wo kan de do do ze ka che chung song me tin le do shi ta le lo ma sho le ya sho la le mo sho le ya sho la le mo sho le ya bui la sam tha ro chin bar sho je gur gon ba zo bar sho shi ta le lo ma Shole ya, sholale mo sho, shole ya, sholale mo sho, shole ya. Ma do do de la, que bar sho yu de la de ge. Jung sho xin ta le lo ma. Shole ya, sholale mo sho, shole ya, sholale mo sho, shole ya. Zalen zembe, chendo chonyen tan, tonje londo, nyambe tungai, nante Bembe dulshonje konde chengur tombe lonchemba dime yezer shabla sewande semni nelu tombar jinjenu tenkeyende kunzo dene cha chaya lame jindo rimbazi Nyesan dorje nyimbe shindanche pande lame shabla sewande sedan dumba tharu chimbadan semni nelu tombar jinjelo Panjinze la marim bonche Kesanje kundayer membe Demembe bolando unzewe Tanjesin chongin zune Lar samshin jewa shin zembe Jajawe wambulon chenba Pakige jila me ya Junimo dambe yon zone Lena benche bandarwense Dunima nga de sem chena Hongin zo yan sa konaralo Bandu je ze she lo chenba Lenga je nam la de manchi Chunga je nam la che jende lam nal ma du ba chi ma de da khera mi ba re sa me pandu je ze shi lo chen ba lar shin je che bu jam ne de dilonda shangi dinenze tanamye jave bar nende de matsur le shi jun nyenda Bandu je zi shi lon chen ba Shin wang bo san tse ji be se Lu da la bam tse da we Da gi shin ko bar ju ben se Chu sha ma den chan chi ne so ban du je zi shi long chen ba lan de ba de chan de wa me nor che wa de chan chi re mi do 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 baran de charan chi bo sanji den pare do war nge pandu je zi shi lo chen ban sen di ba cha pen bin du Lambar de tan la jin da Pedang zum nye vi mi lam xin La rawan thom ba xin tung ka Pandu je zi shi long chen ba Chirkurve che la nyin bu me Gyu mi ta lu la nyin bu me Dinam ka sha vin jan tun da Deden bar zun ya ye nin do Pandu je zi shi long chen ba ya san je nam lai den ba me ma sim je nam la ni ji chu gyung or me jun cha zo nyen sa Tabu di shayan den gon chun Pandu je zi shi lon chen ba Chu te ba ma ya ne man cho Ka shi ba tso yan ju ma du Nere tu dim cha chim la se Mi ta dan je cha nyam nyo me Bandu je zi shi lon chen ba Mi shin jen chen san chun ngo re rang kong ne ru hua ye ma tsoro mi xin jin go go ne du rang ge nyun ba ma la sam Bandu je se she lon chen ba Kong je we son ra ma lun kun Sim ju la e pen mi sem ba ra ke da ba Dum chir te sam je De dharbe lam du in du an Bandu je zi shi lon chen ba Nga ju ben cun ji jin ten du Mar ge o kin gin chen ba le Tsaya ye javi ngan du ta u choge dandi ji da Bandu je zi shi lon chen ba Da de len cho wa tin ni je ya sa je Nam la se wan de Chi ni men de chi sem chen da Ge chi zon cun chen da so la Pan du je zi shi lon chen ba Bunga la re san shin na me Jade ge kien du che ran she Yin za me de chen pon da ne Gunje da e me ron ji jo Gunje da e me ron ji jo Gunje da e me ron ji jo Aoi Omen zandon peri pondangi ina rinzen pawoi kando Dumba yin tsongi Denchen nyam jen gembe Zenjon de sam shin Panjin tsonjin dorjin Yin ne denjong Nanse zinen tembe Zogoro Langi Sanchen na de suya Jumangi nyenjuro Tunjo zame yese Yishenche Rashin Guru Geshen Tavi Gaten la Sunden Zumzun Gavi Zurmi Yowaye 我爱 ye 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 Daki Santam Dalunde Nyenji Chun chun gardam jurwa yantengi temuroi yan yan tavirewa zumendo yerum Nyamda buncho jone chumburinge la Nindo diman tumbe lindon de kamne Zimon jekele mindo jesem do Mrenga onde bende pejungi esen Senai shen dunje serendunde chone Mari divyon tumbe shimbandi sela Ngensum dagi lambe zumone zonde panji shuye nyamge kisandu tero Danda nidu timbe kewara vena rinzen bao kandu chodola tonda Zamen dewa chembe gandungi pela gaguru chishe rimbar pajin sunyeyo Den son lansen jebe tangaringe la tanje zondo davi shoban dan denji Damze nambar dambe Zandu shi zona Pema yungi doncher tarina mindo Leke tumbe landu pomoye sona rimba zimbe tandu melam shinzendang La la nyam ge ge be ge mo da che de mi de len ji sa je xin kam lan chen do din daran dun lo kun ju she no ye nga ya shun ju long je kor le re zen ji lam be Gurun tunje kurwe ponyaru june jinla dunze tanchar datara bomji Jinlan dunze tanchar dandara pobje Jinlan dunze tanchar datara pobje Lemen den den basam Jun xin ge den do Jagar shanji Mam jar shinu ya pebjo Mam je de gordambe Chen cholan jordan Shen bai ngan se tar be lam na shi se yo Sen nam chin chen jam Shin ta lam pe be Lo me shin le Tsang ge kuyon ge sonye Yang ge de zembo me Limbo le nyen pa Yar som naim da Do we tendre la ya jung Dear element be Don je da pendo Nga tse lai ma Shum be chura la pem dan Min den den ze Nyam gai lui ru lembe che che shi yendu de chen bon jur membe shu dai gi yune la da la me share magum cha jile ju ma dain kan ni de Saingin tembe Jali chenku Dumbe Dun chishu Jalin chen gondumbe ngendon jishu Jalin chen gondumbe ngendon jishu
Now we'll just do the balancing and grounding. And have a good evening, everybody. See you on the weekend.